Hello, hello, and welcome to Keep Winning with Des, where we talk about life, love, and the goodness of God. Y'all, this is episode 5. We have been talking for a full 5 whole episodes, and I'm so excited and so blessed. And I hope you guys have been blessed by these little nuggets, gems that have been just, you know, happening. And I'm so happy to just share. Uh, a quick life update before we get into the meat and potatoes. Little side dishes here. I finished 75 hard. I feel like a lot of you probably knew that, but I think I haven't shared any of the results. So I need to check my weight. I haven't checked my weight yet, but I visually can see that I have lost weight. Um, and that's a lot because, it's you. Like you're looking at yourself every day. You're like, dang, I don't see any changes, but I have actually like been like, dang, I feel like I lost some weight. And so that's been cool. That's been pretty awesome. I think I've lost around three pant sizes, right? I'm getting a little trap moment here. I'm getting a little stronger in the bicep here. I'm feeling a little stronger in the legs here, you know? So shout out to 75 Hard, and also shout out to God for getting me through all of the tough moments that I faced during that entire time. I don't think a lot of people talk about that, but girl, as a woman, I am sorry, gentlemen. I'm sorry. We have our special times of the month. You're doing that on 75, on top of 75 Hard, on top of having to work out twice, on top of having to read, doing one of the things outside. Like, it was rough. And so this is really not for the weak. But you can do it. I think that's the biggest thing is what it taught me besides the discipline and besides having that newfound confidence. It's definitely like if you're willing to do it, you can do it. But you have to be willing to do it. I also read like 4 different books, read and audio together. So I'm like crushing my 12 book goal this week. And we have our book club. So that has been super fun for me as well. Um, yeah, so that's just a quick little update on life. Still single, still single, which is great. I love it here. I'm like the ambassador of being single, and I'm here for it. Like, I'm actually not being like, I know I'm funny about it, but I'm being pretty dead ass serious. Like I actually really enjoy it. And then, man, the goodness that has happened in the past 2 weeks. So you guys already know that I have been doing jujitsu. This is technically my 4th week. And if you haven't checked that recap out, please go and check that out. So funny. I had to text the IM group because the way that IM has set me up to be like interview friendly and interview ready for any and everything that comes my way is amazing, and it's awesome. Also a testament to God's plan because when one of the coaches asked me if I would be open to it, I was like, yeah, sure, it's whatever. And so what I found myself doing is kind of like reverting back, like almost it was like almost too markety for me, where I'm like, okay, we're trying to like also be on authentic and genuine, which I am, but I feel like I was almost a little too like it's giving ad, right? Like I was just like, so come check us out at this club and blah blah blah, where it's just like the club's name is gonna be there. Like we're posting it, obviously they know where to go. But I'm just like, it's just like a routine for me at that point. So it was fun regardless. So make sure that you guys check that out. Anyway, so I have been doing jujitsu for a couple weeks now, which has been nice. But a lot of the things that I've been able to take from the mat has been some of the terminology, but also just like in life in general. I think jujitsu is kind of harping on things that can be relayed in any context. So, what I'm talking about specifically is when you're kind of in a situational and people are telling you in order to defend yourself or be on more of a defense, they tell you to posture up, right? And so I didn't know what that meant at first. And I was just like, just getting out there and rolling, just trying to use what I've learned. And people were like, posture up, like posture up. And I was just like, I don't even know what that means. And as soon as I got off the mat that night, I was like, I mean, obviously I learned what it meant, but I was just like, in what areas in my life can this also relate to where I need to be aware of when I need to posture up, right? And because I like that has just stuck with me these past 2 weeks, um, that's all I've been repeating in my head. And so a lot of the readings that I've been doing in my Bible have been like I've been almost seeking certain like texts out. So um in in that way of trying to find um you know relative just like texts, right? In Proverbs 27 verse 19 it says, as water reflects the face, so the heart reflects the person. Y'all, whoo, let me read that again. I'm sorry, this Proverbs is really, it's just too good. It's just too good, especially when we're talking about posturing up. Proverbs 27, verse 19, it says, as water reflects the face, so the heart reflects the person. Oh my gosh, right? I could have a friggin' journal on this for 20 pages because I feel like specifically in this example that I want to share, it's not my finest moment. And I'm super like, I'm yeah, I just am not proud of this moment at all. But what posturing up has really been able to kind of put me in a mindset for is to really check myself and is what my heart is being shown, and is are people experiencing my heart the way I want them to be experiencing it, because that is my posture. That's not only my posture for life, that's my posture in my faith, that's my posture in my career, right? It's kind of piggybacking off of last week's but in a different tone, because we're having an actionable step here, right, in posturing up. So um the example or the situation that I was in happened this past week, where I was at an event, and I I despise when people do this. Honestly, it's like one of my pet peeves of building community and meeting new people is when you have to introduce yourself again and again and again to the same person. And I know that's going to happen in life in general, but it's just one of my pet peeves. I can't tell you why. It just is. And maybe that's a little bit of my pride, but honestly, like I kind of make it a part of when I'm meeting people to remember them, right? Because we're in these types of groups in order to build community. And what I did, like I said, not proud of it, right? When I was at this event, I'm an introvert. So me just like trying to be outside of that normal state that I like to be in is hard for me. And that's hard for anyone. And that's grace, but also it's not an excuse, right? Because you go to these events understanding that you're going to have to talk to people in order to build relationships. Come on, Desiree. Come on, right? So I've met this person before, and in that moment where I wasn't being intentional, where I wasn't paying attention, I kind of wasn't even being present because my mind was just somewhere else, where I just was like thinking of what I was going to do next. Um, I did this to someone there, right? I met somebody new and she was with somebody that I've already met previously. And because I wasn't being intentional or paying attention, I introduced myself like I've never met this person again. Oh, I cringe. I cringe. I cringe. I cringe. And I could tell that um in her like demeanor, it kind of was just like, it, granted, her demeanor changed, and I was like, dang, it like dawned on me that like, damn, have I met this person before? And in that moment I didn't understand, because again I wasn't being intentional, but as this moment is going on in real time, I was like, dang, I have met this person before. Like, and that was me like calling myself and posturing up into being in the present and understanding that this was a moment that like I need to correct, right? Because I've had a similar situation happen before, and I just turned into the mean person, right? That I was calling out before. And God is funny. He got a sense of humor because that's the way that he gonna bring you a message, girl. If you're supposed to hear a message, that's the way God's gonna bring it to you because he funny. He funny. And so in that moment, I had to self-reflect and I was like, dang, am I gonna say anything or am I just gonna let it ride? And what would I have wanted somebody to do, right? What would my posture of my heart being reflected out to these people that are experiencing my love? What would that look like? That looks like me taking accountability for my actions and apologizing. So I was like, it's not even that hard to apologize. The next moment I literally, it was in front of everybody too, where I was like, I'm gonna bleep that out. I was just like, I've met you before, right? Uh, I apologize. I met you at Sweet Greens, correct? She was like, yes. I am so sorry. That will never happen again. And in that moment, it might have seemed hard for me, the thought of it, but, and I learned this from one of the books too. You are not your thoughts. You can have a thought and still act in a different way. That is good. That is the right way. Because you can think all of these things and you're like, okay, you're like, dang, I don't want to do this. Like, dang, I can just let it ride. But that's not the right thing to do, right? Those thoughts are just thoughts. You can take an actionable step to do the right thing. And so that's what I did. In that moment, my posture was tested. And it may not be that deep, but to me, it is. It is that deep, right? And so I apologize to that person, whether or not she received that or took that with love is not, it's not up to me. But I feel like we come to those moments a lot where we have those where we come to those situations where they could be small, they could be big, but you're thinking about it. That's the conviction. And that's where you have to understand and call in that moment to yourself, like, oh, let me check the posture of my heart really quick. And if this isn't feeling well, then we have to reflect what's in here out here. That's what I've been going through the past 2 weeks. With just like pride who, girl? Pride who? Like we just gotta let her go. Let her go. And then also like as you're posturing up and as you're building new relationships, I feel like there's been an emphasis in this past 2 weeks to continue to nurture existing relationships. And I haven't been as great as I have been wanting to, and that's because of the 75 part. That's because of work. That's just because of life. That's because of I'm trying to do all of these things. But I feel like God this past 2 weeks has called me to take a step back because after the 75 hard, I had a moment to rest. I had a moment to catch up with people that I haven't caught up with. I've had a moment to actually give people their flowers and like sit down and be like, man, let's have this conversation. Like, I miss you, you know? And I think in order to posture up, you also have to have those moments where your Proverbs 27 verse 17, just 2 verses up, right? Your iron sharpens iron. And as one person sharpens another. I was talking to Trish and Yasi this past week, and we were talking about like what's in your toolbox, right? I love that analogy. I love that metaphor because it's kind of just like we have all of these tools as we're growing up in order to build relationships, in order to sustain relationships, in order to, continue to grow and to build our toolboxes. We don't want empty toolboxes at the end of our life. We want whole garages full of these tools that we've been able to use and to continue to keep sharp. I think that's one of the things that we touched on too, was that we can't just let the tools that we've gotten, that we've grown and received, We can't just let them go dull. We have to take them out every once in a while and continue to sharpen them. And that's in our relationships. I'm talking about tools like caring, like at the very basics of just like being a good person, being kind, just checking up on someone, like, and it's also those tools where you have to be understanding. And maybe your sharpening tool is too understanding. So maybe you need to put that back and just and bring out the boundary tool, and set those things up too. But um understanding where those two things about like building community and sustaining the community that you already have and meeting a happy medium with being able to posture up and being able to sharpen tools and to continue to build your toolbox. Those two things in the past 2 weeks have been my biggest lessons that I've learned and what I have been trying to work on intentionally, especially going into this third quarter, right? So this is your reminder to pull out those mood boards, y'all. Pull out all of the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter. We're going into the second quarter, and check your posture on all of those different things that you wanted at the beginning of this year. These past 3 months went by like that, y'all. So these next 3 months are going to go just as fast. And so just a reminder on those two things, on posturing up and building your toolbox. Also be prepared and to do your due diligence in the ways of planning. Obviously, we can't, there's his plan and there's our plan, but what I'm trying to just like kind of get across is that you in a waiting period, I feel like I'm in a waiting period as well. That's only why I'm trying to speak on this, is that waiting in your waiting period, it doesn't mean for you to be idle, right? It doesn't mean for you to just like sit back and just like kind of like do, You also have to be intentional with your time and use that time as leverage in order to catapult and trampoline and jump you into the next season. That's what God is calling us to do, is to not stand by idle, but to use the gifts and use the talents and use the tools that we have in order to continue to harvest at whatever season that we're in. So just a reminder for that. I don't know, that wasn't a part of my plan. I just needed to tell somebody that. Whew. But yes, all of that just to say, I love y'all. And thank you guys for tuning in to episode 5 of Keep Winning. Happy Women's Month, y'all. Happy March Madness. When I see you, we will be in a second quarter. We will be in a new month. And yeah, all of the things. And I'm so excited for you and for me to continue to keep growing and glowing, thriving, and being blessed, right? So I hope you guys are driving safe, watching safe, listening safe. And if you guys have any questions, please, 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 please shoot them in the Spotify comment box, shoot them in the comment box on the YouTube, or just hit me up with a DM. That works as well. Would love to do another Q&A in the next episode, which will be wrapping up this season. So love you guys. Take care. See you guys next time on Keep Winning. Bye.